Hello and welcome, Biogenic listeners. Today, I am fortunate to introduce my new guest, Oleg MaryAces. Oleg is the co-founder and director of education for Lock and Key Remedies, and Lock and Key are a CBD company based in New York, and they manufacture a premium CBD product range. Biogenic has joined forces with Lock and Key and to bring their range of CBD to the UK. So it's exciting to get an insight into the future of the company. So welcome to the Biogenic podcast, Oleg. Lovely to have you.
Thank you so much, Victoria, and it's definitely an honor and a pleasure to be on this show. And in general, I would like to say that here at Lock and Key Remedies, we're incredibly excited to be collaborating with Biogenic on the development of all natural cannabis-based remedies for the United Kingdom and for the people of the United Kingdom.
It's an exciting time in CBD land, isn't it? Right now, we can go into that. We can go into that a bit later. So, tell our listeners your story. Why Lock and Key? I know you have an interesting journey to share with us.
Yes, of course. So I moved here with my parents. Moved to Brooklyn, New York, with my parents 27 years ago when I was 10 years old. We came from Odessa, Ukraine. First, I got into finance. That was my passion for the major portion of my life. And 9 years ago, I was introduced to cannabis portable vaporizers, and at the time, it was just kind of a concept. But I felt that it was very important for people to have a portable device to consume cannabis in a discreet way without offensive smells and so forth. So that's when I started manufacturing vaporizers. So I started with a factory in China, worked with multiple factories there, and then started to bringing the manufacturing here into the United States, and started working with a manufacturer in Colorado. In this process, I was at a convention in Colorado. At the time, it was the biggest cannabis convention, and this was 6 years ago. And I was there embedded with a medical cannabis radio station. And for 6 days, one after another, I was hearing stories of how cannabis has helped people with a very wide range of conditions. So there were people coming on the bus, telling stories about how their kids had tumors and cannabis reduced those. There were veterans coming on telling stories about PTSD and how their peers are committing suicide and how cannabis has been helping them. And then people coming off pharmaceutical painkillers, opioids, replacing it with cannabis, and just stories one after another, epilepsy and so forth. And being submerged in that, it really had a very big impact on me, because at the time I was consuming anxiety and depression meds for 15 years, from age 15 to 30, and I consumed about 30 pounds, almost 15 kilograms of pharmaceutical meds over the course of that period of time. And when hearing all these stories, I first thought, I was like, wait a minute, like all these people have way more serious conditions than I do. I didn't feel like I had something that required me to be on these prescription pills for the rest of my life. So from that point on, I actually came off all pharmaceutical drugs, and this April is going to be a 7-year anniversary of me being off all pharmaceuticals.
Oh, congratulations!
Thank you. So yeah, at that point, I became more interested in the active ingredients rather than the hardware, like the vaporizer. So I knew that, all right, there's more to this plant than just THC. So I started researching CBD. I started researching other cannabinoids, other terpenes, and that started the journey of just continued research and understanding of how our bodies work, how these plants interact with our bodies, and so forth.
Yes, so interesting. So this is so how old is Lock and Key actually?
So we started Lock and Key in November 2016. And we spent the final months of 2016 and I'd say half of 2017 just R&Ding, just researching, sourcing, and just trying the initial products. So that was most of the 2017. we started launching products to the public in late summer, early fall of 2017.
Wow. And how do you source your ingredients and where?
Sure. Yeah. No. So that's been a significant part of the beginning process.
Mm,
I was in the cannabis industry at the time already for about 5 6 years. So I've had lots of connections around United States from various states to basically sourcing options. Even though at the time they were still quite limited, but
mm,
there was still a lot to choose from. The most important thing for us definitely was that it had to be clean. We're health and wellness
yeah.
products, so
Mm,
it was really an essential core value for us to have clean products so that have no harmful substances in them at all. Otherwise, what's the
yeah.
point? so
Yeah. Yeah.
so and we already knew that. Hemp, one of hemp's superpowers is it cleans the soil of toxins, so in and heavy metals. So I mean, obviously
Fascinating.
that's good for the planet, but we knew
Hmm.
that for consumable products, especially for health and wellness products, especially for people who may have immune conditions and various ailments where any consumption of those harmful toxins would be highly detrimental. So when we were doing the initial search for sourcing, we the first thing we'd always ask is, we need the lab reports, and especially heavy metals and pesticides, make sure that
Mm,
none of that is there. And then we had to be it had to be affordable uh,
hmm.
for the people. So in that
Mm,
process, we went through Colorado, Kentucky, Washington State, Oregon, a couple of states here in the Northeast, and we came across one of my partners came across a grower and extractor on the border of Oregon and Washington State, and their raw ingredients have been consistently clean over the
yes.
course of the last 3.5 years that we've been working with them.
Mm. So for our listeners, will be curious. The actual process, the ethanol extraction process, can you tell us about how this compares to maybe the other extraction process like CO2? What's the difference?
Sure. So the extraction process, the main differences are the end result. What kind of product are you getting after the extraction process?
Mm,
For example, with CO2, you're able to very efficiently get the specific active ingredients out of the plant matter. So you're
mm,
getting really high concentrations of a specific active ingredients that you could isolate and really, you know, basically get it in a high concentration without any solvents. So CO2 is not considered a solvent; it's just the gas which comes out. So there's no residual solvents, which is again one of the things that you want to look out for. Make sure that there's no residual solvents in any of the products that you consume.
yeah.
CO2 does not have that issue, so
Hmm.
that's that. The machines, the CO2 machines are very, very expensive. They're between $500,000 to $1 million. But they,
Gosh.
yeah, they
Mm,
do, yeah, they do really well at what they do. Ethanol extraction is the preferred method for whole plant extracts. So
hmm.
using an ethanol extraction, you're able to preserve a maximum amount of cannabinoids, terpenes, flavonoids, and any other original active ingredients that are found in the plant. So
Yeah.
between
Fascinating.
those two, you really are able to, kind
Yes.
of get the best of both worlds.
So on the market currently, you've got brands that are extraction processed and CO2 or ethanol processes and the COT processes. So how would a customer know what to look for?
So it really depends. I mean, I know in the UK market, the whole plant extracts are going to be more limited due to the regulations that are coming on board. So
Mm,
it's in the UK market, it's going to be more so on the CO2 extractions, just because there's a lot more control than on which cannabinoids are going to be in the final products. Whereas
Yes.
with ethanol, you're getting again kind of just what the plant originally had. And
Yes.
in the case of the current upcoming UK regulations, that's not really going to be favorable.
Yes. Yes. And obviously, you do a huge amount of testing because I've seen your lab reports. They're very comprehensive. Talk us through that. I mean, how did you? Because that's you do third party lab reports, I believe.
Yes, of course. Yes. So lab testing is, as I mentioned earlier, is definitely one of our core values for two
Mm.
reasons. Because of the safety that I mentioned earlier, would that make sure there's nothing harmful there. But
Yes.
and of course the efficacy. We have to make sure that that anything that we make is not relying on placebo effect. That's been again
Yes.
the reason why we founded this company, is to make effective products. And the only
Yes.
way to really know efficacy, especially when you're making the product, is what's the amount of active ingredients per volume. So whether that
Yes.
volume is a
Yes.
dropper or a bottle, then you at
Yeah.
least how much you're taking, and
Yes.
then you could replicate the results. So the lab testing uh, that we do, and we've done since the foundation of the company, is always cannabinoids, terpenes,
Yes.
residual solvents,
Mhm.
heavy metals, pesticides, and microbacteria. So
Yeah. Lovely.
those are always essential for us. And I'll just run down kind of the few sequences where these tests are being done, because they're actually done at minimum 3 times, and usually a few times extra just in the process.
Wow.
But
Mhm.
yeah, so let me run that down with you. First is, before we obtain any raw ingredients, we always request full panel batch results uh, from our grower extractor, to make sure again that there's no harmful toxins of any sort, and make sure again the active ingredients are the ones that we're looking for. So that's before us actually ordering those ingredients. Upon them arriving to our facility in Brooklyn and our lab in Brooklyn,
Yes.
we submit them to yet another third party lab, and actually we use multiple labs, because we find that certain labs specialize more in certain tests where they
Mhm.
excel at. So we send out the samples to them, again confirm that all the active ingredients are there, no harmful ingredients, and then we really hone in on the active ingredients for the formulation that is done here
Yes.
in Brooklyn. Once the
Mhm.
formulation is completed here in Brooklyn, then the batch samples from the finished products are then sent out yet again to the third party labs, and again then they
Yes.
get tested, where those are the results that the consumers then see, because those are the final products.
Yes. Yes. And I had a good read. It's very, very comprehensive. So, what would you say makes you stand out from a very, very busy crowd of CBD suppliers? All of the above, I guess.
Right. Yeah, well, unfortunately, most of the companies in the industry, and again, not that's definitely uh, not exclusive to the UK, and has been going on in the United States for about
Mm.
5 6 years. That
Yes.
most of the industry still prioritizes flashy marketing and really
Yes.
profit margins. So they're really trying to maximize how much they make per product, and
Mhm.
that usually comes not on the consumer price end, because those are kind of pegged based on the market, and like you mentioned, it's kind of oversaturated, so they can't
Yes.
really make money on the upside. But a lot of companies are cutting costs on their sourcing, for example, and
Yes.
on some of the processes that constitute high quality products, and again they're just trying to maximize that margin. Um, for us, we created this company out of genuine care for the well-being of people. So we focus on all natural, high efficacy products. That's the
Yes.
cornerstone. That's the pillars for us.
Yes.
And that's all we really focus on. Like we never see ourselves competing with anybody, because we know that as long
Yes.
as we keep
Understood.
making
Mhm.
high quality products, you know
Yes. Yes.
someone has to compete with us then.
Yes, I understand. And that's why we were so keen to partner with you, because your product is such a premium product that does, has effect.
Thank you.
So the future of the brand, where do you see the future of Lock and Key?
Yeah, so we're excited about a couple of aspects of of the future, especially this year. I
Yes,
mean,
lots of changes this year.
exactly, exactly. I mean,
Mm.
we spent a good portion of 2020 expanding our product line, and we'll continue to do so. We have really cool products in the pipeline, a lot of which
Mhm.
we've had in our pipeline for a long time, and they're coming to reality. So we're really excited about that.
Yeah,
One of well, because there's a couple of things, the regulatory side. I mean, obviously, working with Biogenic on the UK licensing, that is going to be,
yes, yes,
very, very important, and we're beyond excited about that.
yes,
Um, Besides that, we're also in the process of obtaining the first cannabinoid hemp manufacturer's license with the New York State Department of Health, and
yes.
it's
That
and
sounds very interesting. Mm.
Exactly, yeah, because the New York State Department of Health is known across the world as one of the most
Mm.
stringent
Yes.
departments of health,
Mhm.
and
Mhm.
their regulations are also going to be very comprehensive. And as a company based out of New York, we've been looking forward to these regulations for many years, so that
Yes.
kind of like you were saying, the market's so saturated with low quality products,
Exactly.
and
Mhm.
this will help us really stand out and give us
Stand up from the crowd. Yes.
exactly, and give us the
Yes.
credibility and solidify our position as a trailblazer in the
Yes.
cannabinoid
Yes.
remedies.
A lot changing this year. A lot
Exactly,
on
yeah,
both sides of the pond. Yeah.
sorry, just the last thing to mention for this upcoming year
Mm.
is the research. I mean, we're really, this me personally, I've been really excited about doing more and more research with products,
Mhm.
bioavailability, toxicology, things that
Yes.
really show people that, again, these products are safe, how effective they are, and again,
Mhm.
build more credibility for quality products.
Yes. Fascinating. Well, I can't wait. I think it's going to be a very interesting year for both of us, actually, both our companies.
Amen.
Oh, so finally, obviously, I'm going to be talking to you again because there's so much to learn from what you're doing. But for today's podcast, if I could just ask you, if you were to wake up, say, tomorrow morning, and you could do anything at all, completely different to anything you do now, what would you go out and do instead?
Oh wow, what a question! Um, Honestly, I ask that question to myself probably every week at least, just as a to reconfigure myself,
Yes,
and to make
yes,
sure I'm on the
we all
right
do.
path.
Yeah,
But the answer is always the same. It's always that I'm actually in the right place, doing the right things. I mean,
yeah.
on a
Hmm.
day-to-day basis, that might not feel so, but on a weekly basis, on a monthly basis, on an annual basis, I could not
Yeah,
be more happy or proud of than what I'm doing, and
yeah,
what we're doing as a company, and the collaborations such as the one with
yeah,
Biogenic that we're doing. I mean, this is all very proud worthy stuff, and
yeah, yeah.
yeah, I definitely wouldn't change that for anything else.
Yes, lovely. Well, it's been a privilege to talk to you today, and I look forward to our next chat, Oleg. Thank
Thank you
you.
so much, Victoria. It was an honor, a pleasure, and I look forward to our next chats as well.
Yeah, talk to you soon. Bye bye now.
Take care, everybody. Bye bye.